Welcome to the HR Chat Show, one of the world's most downloaded and shared podcasts designed for HR pros, talent execs, tech enthusiasts, and business leaders. For hundreds more episodes and what's new in the world of work, subscribe to the show, follow us on social media, and visit HRgazette.com.
Welcome to another episode of the HR Chat Show. Hello, listeners. This is your host today, Bill Banham. And joining me on the show for the first time is Craig McCoy, chair of the HR Connection Group and London HR Connection, and a trusted advisor to boards and C-suite leaders across the UK. Craig brings a wealth of experience as a former chief people officer across major organizations, including Sky, BT, BUPA, and the Crown Estate, and today he leads one of the UK's most influential HR communities, connecting over 6,000 senior HR professionals through private dinners, roundtables, and large-scale events across cities such as London, Manchester, and Birmingham. And in this conversation, we're going to explore how the HR function is evolving, what's really keeping chief people officers up at night, and how HR leaders can step up as a strategic driver of business performance in an increasingly complex world of work. Craig, how are you doing? Welcome to the show today.
Thank you very much, Bill. It's pleased to see you again, and thank you very much for the opportunity. Looking forward to our conversation.
Me too. Let's start by getting to know a bit about you, as we often like to do on this show, a bit of background. Tell us a bit about your story. Could you maybe talk to us a bit about yourself and your background, and what's been the key transition points and memorable moments along the way, Craig?
Yeah, so basically a career HR guy. My career in HR spans around 40 years. Initially in the learning development profession, and then moving through management consultancy into mainstream HR. I've worked for many large corporates, initially in the technology and media sector for companies like BT and Sky, Aegis Media and Advertising, through into healthcare, companies like BUPA, and then latterly by choice into the interim markets. I've now done 16 interim assignments as HR director across various industries, primarily healthcare in the latter part of my career. So it's been a great career in the HR profession over many years. Some of the sort of main turning points were the decision to move out of learning development into mainstream HR through the vehicle of management consultancy with Accenture for a couple of years, and then through into healthcare, and then the choice to become an interim to give me the variety and the breadth of assignments, as well as different locations and sectors and challenges. That's been something which has really appealed to me over recent years, and has given me a huge breadth and scope in terms of the HR situations I've found myself in.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the HR Chat Podcast. If you enjoy the audio content we produce, you'll love our articles on the HR Gazette. Learn more at HRgazette.com. And now, back to the show.
Very good. Thank you very much. Let's talk a bit about how you became a pretty famous community builder in the HR space, I'd say. As you mentioned a moment ago, you've held senior HR roles at organizations such as BUPA. What inspired you to move into building and leading communities such as the HR Connection Group?
So I've always enjoyed the networking side of things, and I've always been really engaged with many communities in the HR space. I got the opportunity when I was at BUPA actually to participate in what was then called London HR Connection. And I became chair after about 6 months, but I was very much on the side. It was a voluntary position, and I was doing it alongside my full-time roles. And I continued in that mode for about 10 years until the opportunity came for me to make it my own and to become my organisation. It was previously a branch of the CIPD, the Professional Association in the UK. And I took it on as my business. And since then, we've really mushroomed. We've taken on many more locations. We're now in 6 locations in the UK, developing from London. We run roughly 30 to 40 events a year. Many of them are invitation only, private dinners, breakfasts, roundtables, larger conferences as well. We have a community of about 6,000 people. Increasingly, the focus is on the senior end of the community, so it's chief people officers and HR directors. Membership is always free of charge for the group. Our events are commercially sponsored, and we have a range of sponsors across providers to the HR industry. And they're a great combination of strong content and the latest learnings in the world of HR, combined with some great networking opportunities and good fun to network and meet with your peers. So it's now become more or less my full-time role, having been a hobby. So I've turned my passion project into a job. But it's something which I really very much enjoy, and will continue doing it, I'm sure, for some years to come.
Hi, this is Ryan Kamori, founder and CEO of Saberlining, a company dedicated to empowering teams to live more joyful, productive, and mentally fit lives. And we're a proud sponsor of this episode of the HRchat Show. We exist to bridge a key activation gap for many out there who have not yet crossed the figurative mental health gap, while also teaching helpful skills that are not normally covered in weekly talk therapy sessions. Our goal is to help people everywhere become more aware of their own mental health and improve their mental fitness. Learn more about how we can help your employees at saberlining.com.
So you're very much getting the inside track in terms of what's going on, what are the key priorities, what are the key opportunities and challenges for senior HR leaders in the UK at the moment, because you're having these deep conversations 2, 3, 4 hours over lunch and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you all adhere to Chatham House rules and all the rest of it. But perhaps you can share at a high level, without mentioning any names. What are some of those? What are you hearing? What are some of those key opportunities and some of those key challenges in 2026?
Sure. Yeah. Well, as you can imagine, I regularly poll my membership and ask them, what's top of their mind, and that helps to shape our forward agenda in terms of the key priorities for the profession. The biggest one by far at the moment is the world of AI. And I guess everyone is grappling with it in terms of trying to understand what they should be doing, both as a business, but also as an HR function. But what I've found over the last year is the conversations have kind of deepened and moved on. So it's now talking in earnest about how to actively deploy AI, rather than a year ago, it was very hypothetical about, what is this thing called AI, how it's going to affect us. So many organizations are now in the middle of implementation across a broad range of applications for AI, not just process automation, whereas obviously that's a key enabling one, but helping to produce new documents, new input, policies, drafting documents. It's a real time saver to really speed things up. So I think AI is definitely a big one. Another big one is in the UK, the Employment Rights Act, which is coming into force. Parts of it coming into force from next month, which is giving many more rights to individuals to claim things like unfair dismissal at an earlier stage. But it's also giving early access to benefits such as sick pay, parental leave, and a number of other things. It's quite wide-ranging legislation. And so HR people are really thinking about how to best implement that for the benefit of their businesses, without making the balance too much in favour of employees and against the benefits of employers, because that might have the the perverse consequence of reducing job opportunities. So it's always a balance in these things. And related to that, another one which is top of mind is very much the economic situation in the UK and measures that the government has taken, such as the increase in employers' national insurance contributions, the significant increase in the national living wage, and a number of other factors which are really increasing the employment costs, which is something which obviously businesses are concerned about, obviously combined with the economic and global political situation we find ourselves in. It's made employers a bit more reluctant to invest in growth and to take on additional headcount. So all of these things are also top of mind with HR people. And equally things like strategic workforce planning, which has seen a resurgence. I mean, strategic workforce planning has been around for many years, but it's been treated somewhat as sort of theoretical, hypothetical planning. It's now becoming more real, I think, possibly helped by the advent of AI. You start to think about the longer term, the critical skills planning for your organisation. Gives you more data and tools at your fingertips to think about the future of your business. So I think strategic workforce planning, recruitment and retention in many sectors is still a big one. I mean, many businesses are struggling to recruit, even though the unemployment statistics are going up. The number of young people out of work is getting close to 1 million now. But some industries, particularly front-facing industries, are really struggling to recruit and retain people. So again, these are all kind of examples of things which are top of mind, and we're always looking to put on events which help to share the latest thinking on these topics.
Okay, Craig, you've done it now, because I had a whole bunch of other questions for you, but there's so much in that last answer that I've just got to dig into it a bit more with you, because I think it's so juicy and I think our listeners will enjoy it. So
good. Okay.
I did mention to you before we hit record today that we might go off on a tangent a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
And more conversation. Yeah. But I just want to pick up a few things that you mentioned in that last answer, if that's okay. So you mentioned at the top of your answer there that a lot of the conversations that you're having with senior people and HR leaders at the moment is about the deployment of AI. I've had a lot of conversations recently with analysts, I guess mainly more in the US, so maybe that's something to do with it, who are saying actually 2026 is about the year of proving out the ROI of the deployment that happened last year for AI. Huge amounts of investment. Billions and billions and billions of dollars invested in AI infrastructure in larger organizations in the last couple of years. So this year it's like, okay, we spent all this money. What's it doing? What's it actually doing for us? Yeah. Are you having those sorts of conversations as well, Craig?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I think there are some kind of ready benefits and quick wins that are already emerging. So process automation, the ability to produce new documentation very quickly, the ability to even note-taking tools, and the ability to draft letters, disciplinary notes, but equally the onus is also on the HR people to respond to other people. So the employees are using AI to generate grievances and other kinds of correspondence, which then have to be responded to by the employers. So I think it works both ways. But I think, there is a big investment in AI, and I suppose some of the obvious tools where it's deployed are within core HR systems, within recruitment and recruitment processes, there are clearly ways in which headcount could be saved, although it's often going to be repurposed rather than saved. So the skills mix is changing for jobs. I think it's got some implications for headcount reduction, particularly at the junior end. So I think for new graduates and first jobbers, because a lot of the transactional work is being replaced by AI, I think it might be harder for people to get their first foot on the career ladder as a result. But that aside, I think employers are seeing the early gains of automation and headcount reduction, which in theory should free up people to be perhaps more creative and to raise the level of their strategic thinking. I think that's yet to be proven. I think we're still in the early stages of the early gains from process automation, which is reducing the dependency on people and headcount.
You mentioned there that the reality is that it's harder for entry level folks to begin their career. They ain't going away. They ain't going to get any better. Let's be honest about it. Okay, let's not downplay that. You mentioned also that in terms of young people, so folks under 25, there are almost 1 million young folks in this country who actually NEETs at the moment, not in education, training, or employment. Regular listeners to this show will know that I'm on a board of a CIC in the UK that tries to tackle some of this, and I'm quite passionate about it. What's the sentiment? So you're sitting at these lunches with very senior folks. What's the sentiment in terms of their responsibility to the younger generation?
I think there's a lot of concern because in the short term there might be some gains to be made through reducing dependency on headcount and numbers of people, but in the longer term you're really stifling that sort of talent pool at an early stage in people's careers, which may mean that it's harder to get people to learn, to work their way up through the career ladder and take on bigger and more important roles in the organisation. So I think there is more interest in things like apprenticeships, modern apprenticeships, and certainly skills training. AI can help in that respect because it can give more efficient access to things like skills profiling for the workforce and the candidate workplace. So I think that there's a recognition. That's what the mood is, that there's a responsibility towards younger people, which is not just a selfless thing. It's about thinking about the needs of the organisation longer term. And I suppose a rekindling of interest in strategic skills programs, whilst recognising that perhaps motivations are changing. There's a lot of talk about generational differences in how to engage younger people in the world of work, and rethinking the proposition. But I think that in itself could be a good thing. So as a corollary, a lot of HR people are thinking actively about the employer value proposition. Why would people come and join my workforce? So it's making people rethink rather than perhaps go through a more traditional sort of traineeship where the initial work can be fairly basic, but it's almost like a rite of passage to work through. To take on more skilled roles. So I would say people are conscious of it and they're not just fixated on short-term headcount reduction.
Quick follow-up to that in 30 seconds or less. For those young folks listening to this episode, to those folks who are looking to get into a career for the first time, might be a one-word answer, yes or no, maybe, I don't know. But in 30 seconds or less, is it now a reality that if they want to get into the labour market, if they want to begin their career, they need the imperative of getting work experience is more important than ever? Maybe they should even think about networking opportunities. You and I are both in the networking space to help them get there. And a lot of people are saying, something that will make an entry-level person stand out as if they've tried their own thing, started their own little business before they've applied to us. Any of those things resonate with you in 30 seconds or less?
Yeah, definitely. I think a number of people going to university will reduce. I think there's an emphasis on work experience, real-world experience, and getting out there and trying it rather than deferring it to the long term. So I think that's absolutely right.
Okay, very good. I had so many more questions for you. I still wanted to unpack more of your previous answer there. I want to go into the employment rights bill, but we just don't have time. So last question for you for today, Craig. How can folks connect with you and learn more about all of the cool networks that you're involved with?
Yeah, the easiest thing to do is find me on LinkedIn. I'm very, very willing to accept LinkedIn connection invitations. Have a look at our website, www.londonhr.org. Gives details of all our events. You can sign up on the website. It's free of charge. Everything's free of charge. So don't be shy. And I hope to meet you all at a future event.
Wonderful. Well, that just leaves me to say for this particular interview, but I suspect that I'll be getting you on again fairly soon. But for now, Craig McCoy, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Bill. Thanks a lot. All the best.
And listeners, as always, until next time, happy working.
Thanks for listening to the HR Chat Show. If you enjoyed this episode, why not subscribe and listen to some of the hundreds of episodes published by HR Gazette? And remember, for what's new in the world of work, subscribe to the show, follow us on social media, and visit hrgazette.com.